Mortons Gap traces its origins to 1804 when Thomas Morton, a Virginia native, relocated with his wife Elizabeth and their children to what is now Hopkins County, purchasing extensive land near Flat Creek and building the county's first brick house, which stood as a landmark for over a century. The area, rich in wildlife like buffalo and elk, offered high ground protection from floods and marshes, drawing settlers via buffalo traces rather than roads. Morton's home became a community hub, fostering Morton settlement, amid the peaks of Otter Valley that inspired the town's Gap name. This pioneering effort laid the foundation for the town's rural identity, county realignments and community growth. 1799 to 1807 initially part of Christian County. Before 1799, the settlement shifted to the newly formed Henderson County that year, only to become part of Hopkins County after its creation from Henderson in 1807, reflecting Kentucky's rapid territorial divisions post-statehood. By the mid-19th century, additional families clustered around Morton's property, turning it into a central gathering point with basic infrastructure like trails and early farms. A 1848 deed confirmed Morton's land holdings, distributed to heirs after his 1845 death and burial in the Old Morton Cemetery. These shifts solidified the area's stability, setting the stage for agricultural and social expansion, incorporation and industrial boom. 1871 to 1888. The late 1800s marked rapid growth as the St. Bernard Coal Company expanded from nearby Ellington in 1871, constructing worker housing, a general store, and drugstore that spurred economic vitality through coal mining and logging. The first post office opened that year, followed by the Christian Church in 1873, enhancing community ties. By 1888, with streets lined by businesses like the Mortons Gap Mercantile and the IOF Lodge, later an opera house and grand theater for silent films, the thriving settlement incorporated as a city, officially named Mortons Gap from Morton and the local geographical pass now crossed by U.S. Route 41. This era saw population surge from 241 in 1880 to 885 by 1900, driven by industry. 20th century challenges and transformations. 1900 to 1960. The early 1900s brought cultural vibrancy with theaters and lodges, but the 1936 fire that destroyed Morton's original brick house, after 132 years, prompted its site to become the Mortons Gap School, symbolizing resilience. Population peaked at 1,308 in 1960 amid steady growth, supported by railroads like the CSX Henderson subdivision and proximity to highways. However, the 1955 consolidation of the high school with South Hopkins High reflected shifting education needs in rural Kentucky. Coal's influence waned post-World War II, yet the town maintained quaint charm with institutions like the W. Kington House as a local landmark. Decline and modern revitalization. 1960, present. Since the 1960 peak, Mortons Gap's population has declined to 728 by 2020. Influenced by economic shifts away from mining and school consolidations in the mid-1990s that repurposed the old school site into the Vineyard Worship Center after renovations. The 1995 to 1996 sewer project, funded partly by grants, improved infrastructure alongside park upgrades, a veterans memorial, and new recreational facilities like basketball courts. Annexations near Interstate 69 Exit 37 boosted connectivity to Madisonville and beyond, while efforts like hiring additional police and street resurfacing under leaders like Mayor Frank Stafford aimed to preserve small-town appeal. Today, at 1.19 square miles with a zip code of 42440, it embodies Western Kentucky's blend of history and adaptation.